Hey guys, this time I'm going to be taking a break from the regular model building to show you guys something a little different. This is a rare, this is a Metal Earth Star Trek kit. If you've never seen one of these kits start as flat sheets of laser cut metal. And basically you just have to cut them out, fold them where it's indicated. They have a ton of little tabs and build your model. Let's see if we can get this to focus on here. Here I have one of the warp engines. Oops, let's see. We can get you to focus. There we go. This is one of the warp engines on the Enterprise. As you can see, they have all the markings etched into the metal. As much detail as they can get on it. And it actually makes a pretty cool kit. Is it going to be 100% totally accurate? No. It's not meant to be, but if I could get the camera to focus, there we go. But it is a fun little kit. Something a little different. So, just thought I'd let you guys see one of these going together. So we have one engine done. And now we're going to start on the second one. Okay, now we're going to fold one of the warp nacelles. This is the other engine on the Enterprise. Again, it's a flat piece of metal. And we're going to turn it into the cylinder that is the Enterprise. That is the Enterprise's engines. And if you're like my buddy Dan Mormonstein, the first question you're going to ask is, hey boss, how do you make a flat surface round? Well, Dan, I'm glad you asked that question. And I'm about to show you. As recommended in the instructions, you get yourself a cylinder, much like a brush. And what you're going to do is, if you'll notice, there is a taper to the engine where it's a little narrower on the rear than it is on the front. Much like the taper on the brush. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the brush and you're just going to wrap the metal around it, gently curving it, making sure you stay away from the pylon on the nacelle. You want to roll it so that it gives you a nice round surface. Just gently massaging it and rolling it so that it curves bring it around till the sides meet. I feel like Bob Ross right now. Gently bending. And now that you have your rounded engine, what you're going to do is you're going to insert, let me see if I can give you a little more light. You're going to insert the tabs. Let's zoom in a little bit here. See, these tabs see if I can get you a little better view here. Here we go. You're going to insert these tabs into these notches in the engines. And that will complete your nacelle build. Now, you're going to have to use needle nose pliers once they go together, and then just give it a little bend and you're done. Now, let me get on that. And there's one. You're going to be very careful because the last thing you want to do is kink the metal. Okay. It's a little tricky just to get everything to meet where you want it to. Remember, you are dealing with metal here. There's two. You can hear the snap for when they meet. And have to be very careful that you don't want to bend the pylon to the engine, right? So that you don't change how the engine sits when it's attached to the main hull of the ship. And three. Then we have the three there. And now we just meet. And then we bend the pins back. Give it a nice tight bend. I like to start in the center. And then bring it down. Or did I go the other direction? This one. No, there we go. Just give it a nice little crimp downward, and that is all she wrote. That's one. And two, I grab with the needle nose pliers, pull it all the way through. Give it a nice bend downward. And then finish it off with the fingers. Here we go again with the last one. This one I can do by hand. I don't even need to use the pliers. Or maybe I will. Give it a little bend downward. And there we go. Now, I also like to just round it out by inserting the brush into the end of the engine, just to make it round again, as sometimes it'll get a little oval as you're manipulating it. And this way, you round it right out, and voila, now you have one completed warp nacelle. Now, we have to create the bassard collectors. And for that, we'll be needing piece number 10 and number 11. So here we go. Now, looking at the parts, it's kind of hard to imagine that right there is the bassard collector, which is the round part at the end of the engine. That will become that. When combined with part number 11, which is that. So let's go ahead and cut out our bassard collectors. If you're a Star Trek fan, you know that's the name given to them. As they are where the Enterprise ingests its matter that mixes in the intermix chamber with the antimatter to create the warp energy when it's funneled through a dilithium matrix. Yes, I am a huge Star Trek fan. And here we go with part number 11. Take your nippers and just cut. There are small little pinpoints. Let me just tell you how you can see. You see these little points here. How can I point this out to you? Here we go. Okay. These little points here and here are where the parts are held onto the laser etch sheet. You can see the little triangular points. These are the ones that hold them all on the sheet. So you have to cut that in order to get the parts off. You have to be very careful not to damage the part that you're releasing from the sheet. Okay. That one the right way. Sometimes I'm not sure which parts go, which way they... And it looks like I might have put the other ones on the wrong way, but I'm planning on adding a little splash of color to this kit when I'm done, so I am going to continue it that way. Now you take the little flower shape and you just bend it down, and that's going to become your bassard collector. Gently bring all the petals, for lack of a better word, down till they meet evenly. Just shaping them as they come down. And they meet till you have your little... let me see if I can show this to you. So you have your little nose cone. That will then insert into part number 11 via the 3 tabs will go into the 3 slots there. One, 2, and 3. Okay, it's going to require a little bit of adjustments here, adjustments there, so you get all 3 tabs in. Okay, there we go. And then as before, one tab at a time, and bend downward. That's 1. needle nose, pull in, and bend. Okay, and here we have our finished bassard collector. Now, as you'll notice, there are 3 other slots apart from where the pins go from the bassard collector that go into the rear plate. And those are for insertion into the engine itself. Now you always have to be careful making sure that your pins are straight. Sometimes they will bend as you're manipulating everything. Okay, let's pick the right there. Now I'm going to insert there. It does get a little bit tricky lining up the 3 pins. There's 1, 2, and hold on, something's not quite lining up. Let's try this again. We're going to go here, here, and okay, I'm having a little trouble with one of the tabs here. I think I'm going to have to bring this outward a little bit more. I think my problem is that where I cut it free, I'm not used to building one of these, so I am learning right along with you guys. There we go. That's the problematic one. 2 and 3. Right, let's see. Not quite as flawless as I'd hoped. Something's not right here. As you can see, it's not sitting totally flush. Let me go back and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, guys, I did figure out what I did wrong here. As I showed you before, there are slots for the bassard collector and the nacelle. The inboard slots are for the bassard collector, the outer are for the nacelle, and I had them backwards. So that pretty much settles that. This is how it should sit. You see the bassard collector is right up against the nacelle. Now I just have to fold over the tabs, and it's done. Okay, here we have our partially completed nacelle. In the next video, we'll cover the rear cap of the nacelle. All right, I'll see you then.